We are ready to begin this evening's board meeting. The school board meeting of November 4th, 2020 is now called to order. The time is 6 o'clock. At this time, we request that all electronic devices be put on the silent mode. Also, we ask that you please refrain from using flash photographies. We would like to take this opportunity to remind the member of the public of the district mission, which is to ensure that each student achieves his or her highest personal potential and the district vision to be the world-class school system. This evening's agenda includes the invocation, the Pledge of Allegiance, acknowledgements, public comment, consent items, which include one item under executive services, 2 items under academic services, 2 items under business services, 1 item under human services, 1 item under information systems, and 7 items under operations, as well as 4 items under other business. Board members, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Move to adopt the agenda.
Moved by Ms. Vaughn and seconded by Ms. Morgan. Please record your vote.
It's not coming on. You'll have to record for me. Mine's not coming up. Yes, please. And it was, yes.
Okay. It is 6 and it carries. Ms. Morgan will deliver the invocation, after which Ms. Vaughn will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Morgan, please invite your guests to deliver the invocation at this time. Please rise for the invocation.
The invocation this evening will be delivered by Abdul Haq Muhammad, Executive Director of Quality Life Center. He currently serves as the resident imam at the Center for Islam and Cultural Awareness. Welcome, Mr. Muhammad. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening to the board and superintendent and the administrative and legal staff of the Lee County School District. We want to express our appreciation and honor to contribute to this participatory democracy that exists here in the school board. I want to speak with you from 3 points. One, to just share something very brief in reference to my faith tradition and others, and 2, a parable, and 3, a prayer. I'm honored to be with you this evening to simply make a contribution regarding faith tradition for the beginning of this session is vital in our society. Matter of fact, we can learn that all of the early institutions was established on universal faith principles. Many of our early universities were based on faith principles. And so here we are. I think it's important and vital that we integrate the inspiration of our faith traditions as we move forward to bring not only advancement in education, but also the spirit of unity and cooperation in our community. I'd like to just read a brief parable. Some of you may be familiar with this parable of the king who lost his finger. A king had a servant who, under all circumstances, always said to him, "My king, do not be discouraged, because everything God does is perfect, and he makes no mistakes." One day they went hunting, and a wild animal attacked the king. The servant managed to kill the animal, but couldn't prevent the king from losing a finger. Furious and without showing any gratitude, the king said, "If God was so good, I would have not been attacked and lost a finger." The servant replied, "Despite all these things, I can only tell you that God is good, merciful, and everything he does is perfect. He is never wrong," said the servant. Outraged by the response, the king ordered the servant to be imprisoned. Later, the king left for another hunting and was captured by a group of savages who used to eat and sacrifice human beings. On the altar, the savages discovered that the king did not have one finger in place and released him because they considered him incomplete to be offered to the gods. On returning to his palace, the king authorized the release of the servant and told his servant, "My servant, my friend, God was really good to me. I was almost killed, but for the lack of a single finger, I was let go. However, I have a question," the king added. "If God is so good, why did he allow me to put you in prison?" The servant wisely replied, "My king, if I had gone with you, I would have been sacrificed because I have no missing finger." The moral of this story is that despite things that may happen in our society, we should be grateful and maintain faith. Faith is a prerequisite for advancement, and the many of achievements that we have in our society and in our world came as a result of peace and faith. We should recognize there will be conflicts, but those conflicts represent another opportunity to grow, and not to grow in disdain of each other, but to grow in unity, to appreciate each and everyone's diversity of thought, idea, nationality. And so as we proceed, we pray for this gathering today. Dear God, with the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful, the all-wise, the all-knowing, the compassionate, we thank you, dear God, for the assembly of the citizens and the leaders of our school district. We ask that you bless us to open our minds and our hearts to respond to guidance and wisdom that may come from not only those leading us, but to be open-minded and receptive of ideas that may come from the citizens. Dear God, we ask that you increase us in faith, that you increase us in knowledge, and have mercy upon us. Amen.
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 Ms. Vaughn, please lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Mr. Mohammed, thank you very much for being here today. I'm going to go off script for a second because I failed to say that Ms. Fisher will not be here this evening due to unforeseen circumstances. So I just wanted to make sure. So I'll be running the meeting tonight. Okay. The character word for November, patriotism. Quote, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." John F. Kennedy. The design you see displayed on the screen was created by Maeve Murphy, a rising 12th grade student at Estero High School. Okay. Next item on the agenda is public comments. Ms. Dupree Bruno, please address the items of public comments.
School board policy provides the opportunity at this point in the meeting to address the board concerning any matter on this meeting's agenda or any other matter relevant to the operations of the school district. If you completed a blue card, please put it in the basket provided at the back of the room. If you need a blue card, they're located in the hallway. The rules concerning public comment are posted at the back of the room. Public comment will be made from the central microphone in the back of the room. Please be advised that the board does not respond during public comment to remarks made by speakers. At the end of the public comment period, the board vice chair, Ms. Jordan, will address concerns or the assignment of any concerns or requests to the superintendent. Board policy 1.181 is in effect and requires everyone to wear a mask when on school board property unless you have been given reasonable accommodations. In addition, for the benefit of other speakers, we ask that you use the sanitization supplies which are provided near the microphone after you speak for the benefit of the next speaker. Speakers and those attending the meeting are subject to act in a respectful manner. The purpose of public comment is to provide feedback on school district issues. Personal attacks on individuals or abusive language are prohibited. In addition, clapping, hissing, and booing are prohibited. Speakers who fail to follow proper decorum in the chambers will be ruled out of order. Any speaker continuing with such remarks will be required to relinquish the microphone per Board Policy 1.11 and may be removed from the chambers. Per Board Policy 1.11, the time per speaker is 3 minutes if there are 20, 2 minutes if there are 30, and 1 minute if there are 31 speakers or more. The maximum time allotted for public comment is 1 hour. You will find a countdown on the big screen in the front of the room. Once your time has elapsed, the microphone will automatically shut off. Please state your name prior to making your comment. Please stay 6 feet apart while in the public comment queue. Madam Chair, there are 10 speakers that wish to address the board this evening.
Thank you. Is there anyone out in the audience who did not fill out a blue card that would wish to speak? Please raise their hand. None? Okay. Ms. Bruno, can you proceed then?
Thank you. Kim Hawk.
I like John Kennedy's phrase, although I've modified it and used it many times. My version is, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for yourself. We have become a country where we expect the government to do everything for us, and that's contrary to everything that this country was founded on and everything that I believe in. I am fiercely self-reliant, and I don't like to be interfered with by anyone for any reason. I'm here to celebrate Jacqueline Perez's campaign. She fought a fierce campaign because she's a fierce advocate. She is a fearless whistleblower, and this district would do well to take her research seriously. She has mountains of evidence of corruption and waste and fraud, and this isn't something she made up on her own. This is documented with mountains of research, piles of papers that she's collected over the years, as well as her own detective work. And I believe that trying to fix a giant bureaucracy like this in a way is futile. Every giant government bureaucracy is plagued with corruption and waste. It's inherent in the system. But I do have good news. We will see in my lifetime, I believe, school vouchers. This June, we had, to my surprise, to my pleasant surprise, we had a U.S. Supreme Court case. The mainstream media didn't cover it, but in June, the U.S. Supreme Court shot down the Blaine Amendments. The Blaine Amendments were created 150 years ago to prevent Catholic schools from receiving government money. So now there are no legal obstacles to vouchers. They can go to private schools, they can go to religious schools or secular schools. So I expect very soon we're going to see the floodgates open. We're going to see real competition. The free market always wins. And that's why I don't despair when things don't go our way. Jacqueline and I have had 2 setbacks in the last 2 years. We got our butts kicked. But although we lost a couple battles, we're going to win this war. And even if it doesn't happen in my lifetime, history tells me that free markets and libertarian ideas will eventually rule this earth. And we're all going to be better off for it. Thank you for listening.
My apologies in advance if I mispronounce your name, but Yadram Dervahanyan?
Yep, from Dervahanyan, Lehigh Acres, Florida. And I always say, I love my country, but I fear my government. Fear you all. My comments. I've been cooped up, so I haven't been involved too much with the school board, but I'm going back to what free speech is. This school board puts free speech down. Oak Farms is an insult. Just because a man says Black Lives Matter is a hoax, you did a terrible thing to him. Shame on you. That's communism. I have relatives in Russia, in Armenia, and this is what they do. If you don't like what they say, you put them down. Shame on you. Shame on you. You are controlled, it seems, by socialist groups or terrorist groups like the NAACP, Antifa, and Black Lives Matter. Shame on you that these people are telling you what to do. The last thing I got to say is, Miss Giddings, I'd like you to see resign. You were behind this Oak Farms, trying to get rid of them. You know what? I don't think you're an honest person. I don't think you believe in free speech. I don't think you
Sir,
like
we're not going,
Sir,
excuse me,
sir,
sir, we're not
please.
going to have insults and personal attacks.
Thank you.
I didn't
Not
personally attack.
appropriate.
You're a person attacking me. You're
This
against
is
my
your
free
last
speech.
warning.
You're against my free speech and you're taking up my time. Excuse me. Shame on you. Shame on you. But I want people to resign that don't like free speech. If you want these groups to control you, you shouldn't be on this board. Goodbye. Get off this board. I'm going to work to get you off this board next election. I'm in Lehigh, and I talk to a lot of people. I don't want people like you on this board. I want people to speak their mind and be able to speak their mind. That's my comments. Thank you.
Bill Hopman?
I live in Bonita Springs and been there over 28 years, year-round. I'm here to talk about the school building, the elementary school that the roof fell in. I was in front of it today about 1 o'clock, just looking at it. I'm in the area quite often, don't live too far away. For this article here, I want to leave it with somebody, if that's possible, for it to be in the record. Is today's paper, the Bonita Banner, Naples Daily News, put it out. There's two or three things that, doesn't make sense to me to send this article. It doesn't really jive with what I think we've been told about what happened to that roof. Right here, I've marked it here, collapse came in June after heavy rains. But this is interesting, but the school district said it has yet to determine the cause of the roof failure. It happened on a Saturday evening, thank God. There was nobody there that could get hurt, staff or kids. The repair started, not many days after. And this also is interesting. It says insurance funds will cover most of the construction costs. And this is a quote from a person that's a spokesman for the district. But that doesn't seem to be what I've heard, that there was a lot of money spent on that roof. It was finished in March, the work, and then this happened in June. And if the cause hasn't been determined, how is the insurance company going to be paying for something if they're not liable for it? That doesn't really make sense. And I'd like to see this building saved because it's a historic building in Bonita, and it's important, I think, to keep it any way we can. But evidently some engineering wasn't done. I don't know who did the roof job, but something wasn't done right, for that to fall in like that. And the money, if I understand right, the money that's been spent with the repairs and the other work was over $1 million, and is 3,000 square foot. And so that just doesn't seem right. Something's wrong with what happened here, and I wish somebody would do something about it. And thank you for letting me talk. I'd like to leave this with somebody.
Sir, could you please state your name?
Yeah, Bill Hopman.
Hotman, thank you.
Yeah.
And you may leave that here.
What's that?
We'll take that from you.
Thank you very much.
Juan Romero.
Board members, Dr. Atkins, good evening. My name is Juan Romero. I'm here as a parent, as a resident of Bonita Springs for 33 years. And today I'm here to let you know about our concerns about the school, Bonita Elementary. Spending $260,000 to repair the school, and it doesn't work. The roof collapsed. And again, like the person before me said, nobody was there, and we are not talking about fatalities yet. Now, spending $1 million to repair the entry, the office building, and now nobody can use it because it's not safe. So it's a lot of money, wasting money, our money, tax money. We pay for that, and then it still not be working. And we have a lot of issues on the school. Now the students has to be removed and has to be reorganized out there, and I don't think it's right. The students has to go far away, walking around the school, and it's not safe. And I'm really concerned about that. I know that's a building, very beautiful building, old, 100 years old. And it was built for that time with the trusses and the wood. But 100 years, it was a long time ago. A lot of hurricanes, winds, and rain. And still having a lot of problems around the school, not even just the front office, but the whole school. I think it's a great idea to try to keep that building and maybe use it for any other reasons, for offices or for something else, but not to keeping all the students there and equipment, air conditioning units up there which are very heavier equipment, and students and teachers, and putting on risk. I really don't want to come back here and say something about a fatality because the roof collapsed or the building collapsed. So please, I'm asking you to do something serious of that school, Bonita Elementary School. I don't want to see anybody lost in life up there. And to develop or give them a world class education, I don't think that's the way on that building where we're trying to keep the building standing, putting portables, don't have even restrooms enough for the staff and students. I don't think that can be happen. Please take a serious decision on fix that school and maybe build a new elementary school in Bonita Springs.
Thank you. Yarly Madrano.
Good evening. My name is Yareli Medrano. I come before you tonight to ask the board not to approve and or reconsider the possibility of implementing the theme of a month of celebration of gender identity, LGBTQ, within the school district curriculum. I do not believe that there is a need to do so since nationally the month of June already recognized as Pride Month. I firmly believe that these topics are exclusively for parents to discuss with their children. And as stated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 26, Section 3, parents are the ones who have a prior right to choose the kind of education that shall be given to their children. And those parents who do not wish their children to learn about this topic at school would be having this right infringed upon. This comes down to a simple matter of choice and tolerance. And as the governing board of the Lee County School District, I hope you will do the right thing and give parents a choice about how and on what our children are being educated. Thank you for your time.
Daniela Dye. Ms. Dye, you can move forward to the microphone.
Sorry, there's a delay in the audio and video. My name is Daniela Dye, and I am coming here today to talk to you about a few things. My name is Daniela Dye, and I'm here to talk to you today about a few things. One, I heard the prayer this evening, and I wanted to say thank you for making sure that we still did have prayer instead of a moment of silence. I thought the prayer was wonderful and included a lot of key points about the diversity in each and every individual that needed to be represented. I did want to talk to you about a few things. Accountability. Being accountable means you are required or expected to justify actions or decisions. To be responsible. And to be responsible is having an obligation to do something or having control or care for someone as a part of one's job or role. Ms. Patrica, you have been reelected, and congratulations on your win. Same with you, Ms. Giovanelli. So you guys are our elected officials, and you are to be held responsible and accountable for the things that you say, do, and how you represent us as people. So I'm here again to let you know that we're going to continue to hold you accountable and to make sure that you do represent us. In that, I want to say thank you, because there have been a few violations that we have brought to your attention, and you guys have resolved them. One of them being this wonderful little printout of your agenda. So thank you for actually listening and hearing what we have to say and taking it into consideration and resolving it. I think it's important to not only come up here and tell you what we don't like, but to let you know that we recognize that you're making changes. So again, thanks. Patriotism. Patriotism is a great word for the month, and obviously it's a great month to discuss it. It wasn't built on the backbones of people that decided to just let things go. Patriotism came from sacrifice, and it came from blood, sweat, and tears. My husband's a veteran. You guys might remember him. But he is somebody that is a patriot, and I've learned a lot from him about that. I think that it's something that we can all consider. I won't go into what an individual definition is for it or how we should each represent it, but I think it is a main focus to keep in line with not only the month, but with the way you continue to act as board members and work on that accountability and responsibility. With that, I wanted to mention the sources of information and ask a invitation for your equity training. Whoever's on the board for the equity training, one of the things that I keep hearing, and I'm going to ask for just a few more seconds because we had a mic difficulty, but I wanted to ask for, it seems like with the equity training, if you weren't a part of the equity training, you don't agree with the things that the equity division has proposed, you need to have this sensitivity training. And since I do have a conflict with that, I'd like to be involved.
Thank you, Ms. Dye. Charlie Hatter.
Okay, hi. So I'm going to be reading off my phone because I have a lot to say and I'm not going to be able to remember it all. So, hi, I'm Charlie Hatter. I'm sure you all know my mom, but I'm here to talk about the fact that I was attacked and I'm being retaliated against. I'm not up here because of my mom. I've never spoken at one of these meetings because I have not personally been involved in any of the topics my mother has addressed. But my mom has brought this up multiple times and none of you guys have done anything about it. Friday, October 9th, at Cypress Lake High School versus Riverdale High School football game that took place at Cypress, a girl tried to physically attack me for no given reason. I have never met or spoke to this girl before, and she approached me screaming in my face, and then she literally had to be pulled off of me while trying to lunge on me. While all of this was happening, there was an assistant principal standing by who finally started walking up after she was already pulled off of me, when she was standing there watching the whole thing happen. Not only was the issue of this girl not addressed, but she also was brought to the game by a fellow cheerleader's parents who stood and watched her try to lunge at me. This cheerleader who was friends with her was telling the girl who tried to assault me false information, so instigated the whole situation, which was also never addressed, which is why I was so worried at the game. I make eye contact with the cheerleader's parents who brought this child as they watched the girl they brought to the game try to physically assault me. The cheerleader's mother then proceeded to walk up to my friend who was with me and started yelling in her face. The administration and coaches at Cypress Lake High School have been informed of this and they have not solved this issue. Friday, October 30th was the next game I cheered at since the incident, where I saw the cheerleader's parents walk into the game with another child I've never met. This girl never said anything to me, but the entire game I couldn't take my eyes off of her because I was so in fear of what she could do because it was never addressed, anything that they've done. How can this cheerleader's parents continue to bring children into a high school football game when the first incident of a child they brought trying to attack me was never addressed? I know the superintendent at the last meeting states that I was not a direct party, but I would say I was pretty directly involved where someone tried to physically attack me. I don't think you can get much more involved than that. I'm disappointed at the school board that they would allow this to be minimized and dismissed when a student in their school district was literally physically attacked. Thank you.
Melissa Hatter.
Somebody just asked that I asked somebody to turn on the lights because they can't see the speakers from at home watching streaming online. Other than that, I want to say congratulations, Mr. Giovanelli. Ms. Gittens, I'm sorry that you're taking the brunt of something that you didn't have any part of. I don't know if it's because it was a Black Lives Matter comment. They assume you being a black woman are behind it, and I'm sorry for that because I know that's not the case, and you do not deserve that. I'd like to address again that this situation has not been handled with my daughter. It took 21 days for any comment on it to be made, which was when Dr. Ekins spoke at the last meeting after I'd left. I personally have not been consulted or told anything. The non-student who was a minor, not an adult, as was said at the last meeting, may not be allowed to go there, but the person who instigated it brought her, the adults who brought her in did not prevent her or try to defuse the situation, have not been addressed to my knowledge because nobody will respond to me still. I will be appealing the ineptness of the investigation. of the negligence of lumping all the retaliation in with an investigation of financials. And I'll be submitting that this week, next week. Ms. Patricia, I ask you, you're over the athletics, to please finally step up and help protect my daughter. You've been silent on this for far too long. I've sat here and I've watched the videos and I've seen you read the anti-bullying clause. And I have to giggle because you don't stand by any of that when push comes to shove. So I'm asking you now to please do the right thing. Put aside whatever personal opinion you have of me and protect a student. Thank you.
Jacqueline Perez.
Good evening. I'm here to speak on the behalf of a young lady, Ms. Hatter, who for several weeks now has been requesting for this board, who has a room filled with administrators, from what I could see. Someone should be addressing this issue. This is a repeated incident over and over again. I've emailed on their behalf. They have emailed each and every single one of you. And even though you throw it into the superintendent's lap, what do you do to follow up? Where is the follow-up of this board and their accountability? When are you going to hold him responsible when we have children who are asking for help? How much more clearer can that be? You have a duty and obligation to protect every child that is in your custody when they're going to school. This child should have never gone through anything like that, of being threatened, of being in fear of her life, and no one could step up, but they combine her complaint with an audit investigation. That's ridiculous. That's negligence. And I know that some of you on the board are used to bullying children, but it has to stop. It has to stop. So please, someone tonight, give Mrs. Hatter and her daughter someone that they can speak to address this issue so she can feel safe when she's going to school. That's the least that you can do. Second thing I'm going to talk about is the Bonita roof. The board approved a roof to be installed, or a roll-down roof, in October of 2019. It was for $260,000. March spring week of 2020, it was installed. It came crashing down. You guys paid $243,000, and then you gave the vendor an additional $6,000 in July so he can pay for his insurance. I don't know why that happened. But the builder who took over with the construction manager or the building manager for the job, they had repeatedly come to maintenance, to your director of maintenance, Jimmy Flock, and told them that they were afraid of the structure, that the structure was weakened. They took it upon themselves, after not getting any kind of response back from the district because they were in fear of the lives of the employees and the children that were there, that no one was addressing any of the issues. So the vendor, out of his own pocket, did an evaluation and assessment of the structure and deemed it dangerous. It sat in Jimmy Flock's email for 2 weeks until he handed it over to Kathy Eva. There has to be accountability board. You could have had a tragic mistake where children's lives could have been lost because no one is holding anyone accountable. Tonight, make a decision. Hold them accountable. Ask them questions. Don't just sit there and look at each other. Thank you.
Mercedes Harry.
Hello. My name is Mercedes Harry. I think this is the third time I've spoken to each of you. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but because we have an unresolved issue, I just thought that I would instill some confidence in you guys, because I have watched EDAC meetings, I have watched curriculum meetings, I have watched so many meetings in the last couple of weeks. And I was very disappointed when one of the members insisted that because you guys had postponed the resolution last month in regard to the LGBT History Month, that you should have been subjected to sensitivity training, which to me immediately sounded like re-education training. until you agree with us. I'm not quite sure. But I thought you guys did a good job. You guys, many of you even admitted, we were unaware of what the objective was. We still haven't gotten an answer about what grades, what curriculum. One of the women at the EDAC, one of the members at the EDAC meeting said that she didn't understand the parents that were asking for curriculums because of the word educate, and we misunderstood the word educate. I thought education came with curriculums. My understanding then I then realized that educate simply meant all of the plethora, all the other things that the parents were complaining about, which goes back to bullying, which goes back to acceptance, which goes back to all of these things that I feel as a society as a whole, are we perfect? No, but we've done a pretty good job. I mean, I've lived in Lee County for 17 years. I've seen interracial this, interracial that. I've seen, I mean, have you lived here in June? Have you driven down Cape Coral Parkway in the month of June, been into a business? I feel like you guys have done an amazing job letting the LGBT community know that they're welcome in the schools with the decals and the posters, and now there's like a new decal with the hearts for the non-binary. Like, you guys are letting people know that you're doing the best that you can to provide a safe space for everyone. We can't upend everything for a few. Now, I was bullied relentlessly in 9th and 10th grade, and nobody messes with me now. So I'm not saying bullying is a good thing, but I don't think that you can fix every single person's problems. And I can tell you that creating an awareness month most certainly doesn't instill validation or self-esteem in anyone. That's what parents and people have to do for themselves. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Those are all of the speakers for this evening.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Dr. Atkins, could you please speak on to Mr. Hootman, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, Mr. Bill, and Mr. Romero, regarding the Bonita Springs, if you can give them.
So when we did receive the report, we made the determination that we needed a third-party objective structural engineering firm to reevaluate that building. That is what we are now in the process of doing. So my understanding is that we actually have this firm on site. They are conducting that evaluation. We should have a report as it relates to that in the very near future. I would say between I'll give it 2 to 3 weeks at the most, and then we will, in that, as you know, the recommendation that they will make is they will identify any structural issues that need to be addressed, and they will also put out there what will be the recommended solution and an approximate cost. So all of that is part of what we are doing right now as we evaluate that facility. And also, as you know, during that time we do have, we've made arrangements for staff and students to make sure that nobody's going in that particular building while this is happening, this is taking place.
Great, thank you.
And then just as the rest of it, I know Dr. Savage and I have had multiple discussions. We do want a thorough vetting of exactly what occurred and what was the cause. So, and I won't go any more into that because that particularly, there can be legal implications of that, but the matter is, as far as we're concerned, still under investigation so that we can make that determination.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Hawk, I appreciate you coming, and I'm so sorry, I know I cannot pronounce your name, the gentleman from Lehigh. Thank you both for being here and your comments. Ms. Monier and ladies, thank you for being here and sharing your comments with us. We do hear you. Same with Ms. Dye. We appreciate you being here. I'm not sure, Charlie, I'm sorry that you feel, I hate for anybody to ever feel that afraid of being in school or anywhere. So I feel bad about that. But I don't know if there's Ms. Dupree-Bruno or Dr. Atkins can speak on any of what they have just brought to us again.
Which one was that again? I'm sorry.
Or Ms. Hatter.
Yes, I do know that the bullying situation is being handled by Mr. Bradley. Assume that's the person that's going to be, if he hasn't already been in contact. Okay, Mr. Chuck Bradley, so you should be hearing from him soon.
And we'll follow up to make sure that that takes place. Okay?
There was a bullying claim filed, and that's part of what he does, is he
Right.
follows up on that.
Okay, and did I miss anybody? Ms. Harris, thank you again for your comments. Appreciate you coming here and sharing with us. And I think I've gotten everyone. But we do appreciate, we are here, we want to be we are accountable for what our actions are. We are here to serve, and we do appreciate you coming and sharing your thoughts and concerns with us. Moving next, if that's the end of the comments, we will go on to the approval of the consent items. The documents for the action items listed under consent is made available to the board members 7 business days prior to the board meeting. We are expected to review all the materials, and we have the opportunity to speak with the superintendent with any questions we may have regarding the recommendations. Some of these items have also been briefed or workshopped with the board in advance of appearing on the action agenda. Board members, are there any agenda items you wish to pull for discussion under the unfinished business tabled items portion of the agenda? Ms. Giovanelli?
I have none.
Ms. Patrica?
No, thank you.
Ms. Gittens?
No.
Ms. Vaughn?
I have none. This is on the, never mind, go ahead.
Ms. Morgan? And I have none. Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda consent action items? Ms. Morgan?
I move we approve the agenda action consent items.
Thank you. And seconded by? Ms. Vaughn? Thank you. Please record your vote. Jen, mine's not coming up.
Mine's not either.
Thank you. Did yours come up?
I did. Yeah.
Carries 6-0.
Okay, motion carries 6-0. Okay, so let's see, moving right along. Attorneys, other business. So we're all the way down to members' comments. Ms. Fisher's not here. Ms. Giovanelli?
I just have to say that I wish Ms. Fisher a speedy recovery, and we're thinking about her, so thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Patrica?
I have none, thank you.
Ms. Morgan?
I have none.
Ms. Vaughn?
I'm sending out my best wishes to all of the schools, as this is the week where many students returned to face-to-face learning from virtual learning, and I know that that means another shift in terms of teacher schedules and student schedules, and a lot of moving parts to that. So my best wishes out to all the schools as they cope with making sure that every student has his or her preferred schedules, and that hopefully, especially in the high schools, that we have reduced the number of hybrid classes, which I know are particularly trying for teachers to keep up with kids in the classroom and kids on the screen. And aside from that, that's it for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Gittens, please.
Okay. Couple of things. Ms. Mendano, I believe, spoke about the LGBTQ rights. And I received from a group of parents that dropped off for me 23 petitions that they wanted me to give to the board, and I can leave them. And basically, it is saying, as a parent, I would like to make my voice known and ask the board not to approve or reconsider possibility of implementing the theme of a month of celebration for gender identity LGBTQ within the district's curriculum. I do not agree that there is a need to do so, since nationally the month is recognized in Pride Month. I also believe that if this were to be implemented in schools, it can negatively affect other children who have a defined and established identity. I firmly believe these topics are exclusively for parents to discuss with their children, as stated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 26. Parents have a prior right to choose their kind of education that shall be given to their children, and those parents who do not wish the children to learn about homosexuality at school would having this right infringed upon. This comes down to a simple matter of tolerance and governing board of Lee County School District. I hope you do the right thing and give parents a choice on how and what their children are being educated. I appreciate the time. And I will give these to the attorney and the secretary, that there's 23 of them. My comment about this is I said from the very beginning, I felt that we should have addressed the issue so that everyone understood where we actually stand on it. I disagreed to have to wait until November 17th, but on November 17th, when we have our reorg meeting, is supposed to be on the topic then to discuss it. And at that time, I would hope that all of you that have an interest would watch that meeting and hear exactly, what it is. I think people have taken it a different way about educate, and not letting you know what we're already doing, I think would have kind of kept some of this to a minimum. But I appreciate you all coming, and let me see what else about it. Ms. Dye, I think she's in the other room if she's still here, on the moment of silence, and I got several calls in and people commenting and asking why I suggested and chose to do a moment of silence as opposed to a prayer. I too appreciated the pastors and ministers that have participated up until this point, and the prayer this evening and the parable. I am a Christian as well, and I would love to hear that, but I am very concerned. One night, and if you were here at that meeting after the prayer, there was someone that said, "Hail Satan," out loud. And I am very concerned if we do not do it this way, that there will come a time that someone well within their rights would say something, and then everyone will be saying, well, why are you allowing that to do? So that is where I'm coming from with that. I am not against prayer whatsoever. I wish that the Supreme Court had never taken it out of schools. But I think everyone needs to know where I was coming from when I did suggest that. And finally, Mr., and I know I'm going to mispronounce his name, I think that he has left. Don't worry, Mr. Prebruno, I know there's a case, I'm not going to get in trouble. But I wanted to say to him that yes, you have freedom of speech to say whatever you want to say. And so do the people that threatened me and said, who thought that I was the one that made that decision and threatened to tar and feather and hang me and light her up and all of that. They have freedom of speech just like you do. And I wanted to ask him a question. As you look at this board and you look at everybody up here, of the 7 members, what's different about me? And I just want you to think about that. In a situation like that about Black Lives Matter, I'm the easy target, so you took the easy way out. But I want you also to know I did not make the decision. In fact, the superintendent did. And I don't know that it was as publicly stated as it should have been, that I did not. And I was not telling anybody. I was not marching and protesting and saying, you have to do this. I am one of 7. And if you've watched very many meetings, I'm often the one of 7 that does not win the vote. That's just the reality of it. I feel everybody has the right to vote the way they want. And then my final comment about that is, when it comes time to vote in 2022, all I ask you to do is to let my work speak for me. And thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gittens. I have a few things that I will share. I had the opportunity to go to the Quality of Life this Saturday for their reopening plans and the programs that they will be offering, and which also includes a mental health clinic right there on site. The programs that they will be offering, they're going to try to extend those to the weekend as well, to Saturdays, so that children who may not be able to participate during the week for after school, they would be able to go there during that time. Also, tonight they're having the first Southward Village Transformation Plan public meeting, which will be right across from Franklin Park and will really help that community grow. So I'm really excited about that. This is also Tuesday, yesterday. The days go by so fast. I have Domingo here and Rainier. These gentlemen came to, I've been working with the group at the census, and all their supplies that they had, they needed to donate. So I stepped up, and I've been talking to them for weeks, and we actually were able to get, these are the managers of the census building. So instead of them trying to ship it back, that was my first selfie, just letting you know. Never done it before. But this whole group right here, all these women and Mr. Dennis, he really helped secure all these donations. And in the donations, I'm just going to go through some of what is donated in that truck full of supplies. They donated 46,000 masks, 1,900 gloves, 7,000 sanitizers, let's see, 3,000 clipboards. We have pencils, thousands of pencils, pens, Post-it notes, envelopes, just everything that, I mean, it's going to be really helpful to the district, I felt, and these kids. They even have surge protectors for us, staples, sheet protectors, some trays, some tables. So whatever they had in that office, they donated versus, and you could see all the pallets of, the guys worked super hard, and I really appreciate Rainier and Domingo being there and all the people there to make this happen for us. And they still have a little bit more supplies left, and so they're trying to pull that because they happen to close that office. And so we will be gaining some more supplies that we can distribute out. So I was really excited about getting that. And what I think I had one more. Nope, I think that's it. And really, I just want to say again, we are here to serve, and I personally am here to serve, and we may not get back to you immediately, but we do read what you say and hear what you say, and just really appreciate all of you coming here. And to move on, I will ask Ms. Dupree Bruno if you have any comments.
I just want to clarify something because I've heard it in the last several meetings. There is definitely confusion with regards to the LGBTQ resolution. The resolution was just a fancy motion to celebrate the historical contributions of individuals who happen to be LGBTQ, not a celebration necessarily of anything else. It was not to educate with regards to anything else. It was to celebrate the historical contributions of individuals who happen to be LGBTQ. The month has passed. It happens in October, so it's not something necessarily that will be coming up again because the month has already passed. But the board will be discussing it at an upcoming workshop in terms of all of their resolutions and guidelines that they will use to be able to decide which resolutions they want to move forward with. So I just wanted to clarify that because I think there's some confusion with regards to that. At this time, I would like to introduce Beatrice Cardoza and Michael Civic. Beatrice Cardoza is a second-year law student at Ave Maria Law School. And you can stand up, Beatrice. Michael Civic is a third-year law school at Ave Maria Law School. And both of them, we welcome them. They'll be doing an internship with the School Board Attorney's Office, and we're very happy to have you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Dr. Atkins?
Just a few quick comments. Ms. Hatter, we will have somebody get in touch with you, either Mr. Bradley or Mr. Simmons, regarding the status of your most recent complaint, or at least the outcome, and then the bullying. If you. And again, as I said the last meeting, we have made sure that we have additional security in the parking lots at those particular games. So.
I'm sorry, Ms. Hatter, we can't have conversation between.
And I'll have that conversation with staff. The other thing I just want to say, again, Ms. Fisher, wishing her a speedy recovery, obviously, and thank you to Ms. Jordan for the work getting the PPE. I mean, this is the type of things that we see our board members do, going out there in the community, working with different community agencies. As we saw, Ms. Vaughn do with the masks, and others of you have done similar type of things. So I really appreciate that. She contacted us just as soon as she could, and made sure that we had the truck and so for the staff to get that stuff loaded up and back to the district. So thank you very much, and that's all for my comments.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. So the next scheduled meeting of the board on Tuesday, November the 10th, there will be a board reorganization workshop at 10 a.m. On Monday, November the 16th, there will be a board workshop at 1 p.m. On Tuesday, November 17th, there will be an action meeting at 6 p.m. At this point, having no other business to come before this body and seeing no objections, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you and have a great evening.